Satarine, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Krapasindhubhye cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayate Girina Krapatamaham Bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam. So thank you for inviting me. And you are in a part of Bhagavatam, which is very, shall I say, I don't know what the word is, sensitive, esoteric, area of the Bhagavatam that takes purity to understand. And I don't know if you know this, but it's a very interesting fact that outside of ISKCON and other Gaudiya movements, when they're studying the Bhagavatam, and they come to the leelas of the Gopis, they don't discuss it. They just read it and read on every verse. And then when they finish the Gopi leelas, then they begin discussing, because it's considered so transcendental and in a sense difficult to understand and easy to misunderstand. So we will carefully traverse the path of understanding Gopi Prema and not misunderstanding. So you want to put the verse up? Is that?
That's not necessary. We can do it if you like.
They're like 5 or 6 verses. Yeah, it would probably be good that we can just read the verses.
Okay.
This class goes till what time? 8:15?
Till 8.
Till 8. So
we're open for questions 10
at
to
a
8.
quarter, 10 to 8. Okay. Hare Krishna. So you're going to put up the verse? Is that correct?
Ananda B, be sure to mention that there is an after Darshan. We usually extend the class. And if Prabhu it can stay, that would be wonderful for questions.
Okay.
Okay, can you see the verse? It's 53 through 58.
Yeah, okay. So this is text 53. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tatastha Krishna Shandesha Vyapeta Viraha Jharaha Uddhavam Pujayam Chakro Gyatpat Manam Aroksajam. In the translation, Sukadev Goswami continued, Lord Krishna's messages having relieved their fever of separation, the gopis then worshipped Uddhava, recognizing him as non-different from their Lord Krishna. Report, Srila Sridhar Swami states that the words Gyatvat Manam Adhoksajam also indicate that the gopis recognize Lord Krishna to be the very soul of their lives and thus spiritually one with them. So I'll just make a little statement about that. If you've studied Krishna conscious philosophy, you know that we are personalists and we are not trying to become one with Krishna, but we're trying to become the humble servant of Krishna. I mean, not trying, we're trying to realize we are. And so it's interesting here how it's said the gopis became one with Krishna. So of course we understand that the goal of oneness for us is to become one in desire. In other words, everything that Krishna wants, the gopis want. It is impossible for them to desire anything for themselves. Impossible to desire anything that would not make Krishna happy. That is one of the aspects of pure love. In love in this world, it's always negotiated. Well, you have your needs, I have my needs. So we negotiate. How can I fulfill your needs? How can you fulfill my needs? And then I'll tell you, when you don't fulfill this need, it makes me unhappy. And then you might say, well, I'm not fulfilling that need because you're not fulfilling some of my needs. So there's this competition. You rarely would find someone completely happy just fulfilling another person's needs. I have no needs. I have no desires. Whatever you want, I will fulfill that. That's rare, if not impossible to see in this world. So the gopis, so when they say oneness, it's like whatever is in Krishna's heart is in their heart. It's like that. It's just, yeah, that's the best way to explain it. That's the oneness. Like we chant a prayer to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Mukha Padma Bhaktya Chitete Koriya Aikya. Guru Mukha means the words coming from his mouth. Guru Mukha Padma, his lotus mouth. Bhaktya, the words. Chitete means conscious. Koriya Aikya. Make my consciousness one with your words. Make your instructions, your words, what I desire, non-different. I have no personal separate interest. So when I was reading these verses, I was thinking, okay, so in these verses, we have a palette, a painting upon which we can study what is love. Because, what we study as love in this world falls short of the love of the gopis. And so by reading these verses, we get a glimpse into this love. And this love is difficult to understand because we have no experience of it. And it's difficult to understand because our experience of love between male and female is filtered through sexual attraction, and this is how we understand that love. And so now we're trying to understand love, which has nothing to do with that, which is pure. But at least this is the beginning to understand when you'll read in a Bhagavatam something confusing. It will say, you'll read verses like, the gopis kiss Krishna, or they put his lotus feet on their breast, and saying, okay, if the gopis only desires to serve Krishna, why are they kissing him? Because it seems like, well, they're enjoying that, right? Why are they putting his feet on their breast? Why are they doing anything? So if you go deeply and study it, you'll find they're doing that because they know that's what Krishna wants. It's not that they want it, they know Krishna wants it, so that's why they're doing it. So anytime you read anything about the actions of the gopis, and it looks like, this does not look like pure bhakti, what they're doing. It looks like they're doing something that's giving them pleasure. Always default to the understanding they know what Krishna wants, and they would not be doing this unless it was making Krishna happy. And of course, they become happy as a consequence of making Krishna happy, but they're not doing it to make themselves happy. They're doing it to make Krishna happy. So we can go to the next verse. So this will be verse 55, correct? Or 54, okay.
Before, yeah.
Uvasa Katichin Mahasan Gopinam Vinudan Suchaha Krishna Lila Katam Gayam Ramayan Ashago Kulam. Translation. Uddhava remained there for several months, dispelling the gopis' sorrow by chanting the topics of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Thus he brought joy to the people of Gokula. Purport. The great Acharya Jiva Goswami comments in this regard that Uddhava during his stay in Vrindavan, certainly took special care to enliven Krishna's foster parents, Nanda and Jasoda, but it worked the other way. So prior to Krishna sending Uddhava to Vrindavan, Krishna was lamenting that he couldn't go back to Vrindavan, and the residents of Vrindavan were distraught by separation. And while he was thinking, I need to send someone to Vrindavan, Uddhava showed up. And Krishna thought, oh, Uddhava, he should go. But Krishna was thinking this will be good for Uddhava because Uddhava has never seen love on the level of the residents of Vrindavan. So he will learn, he will grow in his love by their association. Uddhava represented Krishna. Uddhava looked like Krishna. Uddhava, as we see here, was talking about Krishna. So in that way, he was pacifying the residents of Vrindavan, and that was part of his mission to do that. Krishna was sending him with a message to pacify the residents of Vrindavan. So just by his presence, they were pacified because he reminded them of Krishna. But even more so, it was for his purification. And his really interesting little side detail, when Uddhava went to Vrindavan from, I believe he was coming from Mathura. When he got to Vrindavan, he was first going to see Nanda and Jasoda. So he asked someone, where is the palace of Nanda and Jasoda? And the person said, you see this river here? He said, you follow this river, and where this river ends, that's their palace. And he said, this river is made of their tears because they're crying in separation from Krishna. So what this part of the Bhagavatam and many other parts of the Bhagavatam are doing for us is they're helping us understand the depth of love of the residents of Vrindavan. And it's not, saying, how could you cry a river? Well, you could if you actually miss someone that you deeply loved. As much as you love Krishna, you could constantly be crying in separation. So, and the other really interesting point, which has always fascinated me, is Uddhava was with Krishna, and Krishna is thinking, if I send Uddhava to Vrindavan to associate with my devotees, it'll be better for him than associating directly with me. So isn't that interesting? I mean, just think about that. You're with Krishna personally, and Krishna says, in order to help you develop love for me, I'm going to send you away from me. I'll send you away from me so you can associate with my devotees. We think, well, if I just saw Krishna, that would be like, everything would be finished. My material life would be over. I'd be purified. And Krishna's saying, nah, you need to associate with my pure devotees. You need to associate with those Brajbasis who love me. That will help you even more. Interesting. Something to think about. Okay, we can go to the next verse.
This is 55.
Yavantyani nandasya braje bhat sit sa Uddhavaha prajaukhasham kshana prayani. It's actually prayaniya san krishnasya vartaya. Okay, translation. All the days that Uddhava dwelled in Nanda's cowherd village seemed like a single moment to the residents of Braja, for Uddhava was always discussing Krishna. When you go to the dentist, 10 minutes seems like a yuga, right? And you're in the arms of your lover, 10 minutes seems like a second. Yeah, that's how it works. Text 56. Sharid vana giri dronir Bikshan Kushumitam Druman Krishnam Sam Shmarayam Reme Hari Dasho Prajaokasham. Translation. That servant of Lord Hari, seeing the rivers, forests, mountains, valleys, and flowering trees of Braja, enjoyed inspiring the inhabitants of Vrindavan by reminding them of Lord Krishna. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami points out that as Uddhava wandered about Vrindavan, he reminded Braja's residents of Krishna by asking them questions about the pastimes of the Lord, the pastimes the Lord had performed in each of these places, namely the rivers, forests, mountains, and valleys. Thus, Uddhava himself enjoyed great transcendental bliss in their association. So, I already mentioned this, and how much he benefited and how much he was benefiting them by discussion of Krishna. And one of the things that I've noticed in my own spiritual life, perhaps you've noticed this also, that anyone who reminds you of Krishna, anyone who can help bring you closer to Krishna, anyone who can help you purify yourself, anyone who can help you soften your heart, anyone who can help you make spiritual advancement by their actions and especially by their words and affection, you naturally become attracted to them. You naturally become indebted to them. And so the more that we can give people Krishna, the more they'll want to be with us, the more they will feel affection for us. Not that our goal is that people like us, but the point is that Krishna is so dear to everyone that when you give people Krishna, it just makes you dear to them because you're giving them something which is the most dear to them. And that's why the devotees are the greatest friends, because as Prabhupada said, the devotee is introducing people to their greatest friend, which is Krishna. So if I introduce you to your greatest friend, or you introduce someone to their greatest friend, you become their greatest friend in that sense. So, and another thing which is quite interesting, when Prabhupada talks about the importance of Sangha, he says that Sangha is important even for pure devotees. And you might think, okay, well, Sangha is one of the basic aspects or basic practices of sadhana. So why would Sangha be necessary for people who have prema, people who have love of Krishna, people who are pure? And the reason is, it's because one of the main functions of Sangha is to relish the pastimes of Krishna or relish discussions about Krishna. And so Shastra says that without Sangha, without the association of devotees, these discussions cannot be fully relished. You can read on your own and relish and taste some nectar and benefit, but without the association of devotees, it can't be perfectly or completely relished. And Prabhupada says, without that Sangha, bhakti can't be perfected. It can't be relished. It can't be perfected. I think maybe he mentioned one other thing. But the point is that this is what devotees do. On any level of Krishna consciousness, they relish talking about Krishna, and by doing so, they taste bhakti. And this is how we bless one another, just by sharing with one another what we've read, what we understand, what we've realized. So here, Uddhava is becoming very inspired, and the Gopis, the Brajbasis, are becoming very inspired because they're talking about Krishna. And Uddhava was trying to help relieve their distress of separation. And so how do you relieve the distress of separation? One of the ways you do that is you talk about the person. You're feeling so distraught because that person you love so much is not with you. But if you talk about that person, if you remember that person, it relieves some of that distress. And the interesting thing is that when you talk about Krishna, Krishna is no longer not present. Krishna is present. So when when a devotee is feeling separation, the medicine for the separation is to hear about Krishna, because Krishna is present in the leela. So it relieves some of the feelings of separation, because thinking of Krishna, talking about Krishna, is not different from Krishna's presence. Although we may not realize that fully, that's the reality. So that's what Uddhava was doing. And he was also, as I said, benefiting from their association. There is, yeah, I mean, in the sense that Krishna is present in his name, and Krishna is present when we remember him, Krishna is present when we discuss him. In that sense, there is no separation, or there can never be separation. So in a sense, separation is a illusion that I'm separated from Krishna. Like you read in the Bhagavatam, that it said that Krishna never left Vrindavan because the residents of Vrindavan were always thinking of him, and therefore, because they were thinking of him, he was present within the hearts of all the residents of Vrindavan. So it's a kind of paradox in a sense that there is separation. There is and there isn't. And there's another kind of separation, which is quite interesting, where you're with Krishna, but you're afraid he's going to leave. Or you're with Krishna and you think, due to some transcendental illusion, that he has left. And then you become overcome with separation. So this separation is a whole topic. It's a whole huge topic. But it's considered in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy that love reaches its highest pinnacle. I guess that's redundant, highest pinnacle. Love reaches its pinnacle in separation, because the intensity of the love, the intensity of the thinking, the intensity of the feeling is strongest when Krishna and the devotees are separated. And so therefore it says the highest love is achieved by separation. Of course, there must be meeting for there to be separation. So they work together. So when Krishna leaves Vrindavan, you might think, well, why did Krishna leave Vrindavan? He's putting all his devotees in distress. But Krishna knew when he leaves Vrindavan, it will increase their love, because it will increase their separation. And so Krishna said, yeah, I'll come back. He's leaving Vrindavan. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe in a week, maybe 2 weeks. Don't worry, I'll be back. And so they all had their hopes up. And so they're waiting, month after month, year after year for Krishna to come back. That's intensifying their love. Okay, so we go to the verse 57. Drishtva bhaivam adi gopinam Krishna veshatma viklavam Uddhava parama pritas tanamashyan nidam jagao. Translation. Thus, seeing how the gopis were always disturbed because of their total absorption in Krishna, Uddhava was supremely pleased. Desiring to offer them all respect, he sang as follows. So he sang as follows as for tomorrow. So there's going to be some suspense here. What did he sing? You'll be dreaming about it tonight, right? Of course, you could go to the Shastra and find out. But purport, Viklava, mental disturbance, should not be confused here with ordinary material distress. It is clearly stated that Uddhava was supremely pleased, and he felt this way because he saw that the gopis had attained the highest state of loving ecstasy. Uddhava was an exalted member of the court in Dwaraka, an important minister in world political affairs. And yet he felt the spiritual urge to offer his obeisances to the glorious gopis, although externally they were mere cowherd girls in an insignificant village called Vrindavan. Thus, to explain his feelings, he sang the following verses. Srila Jiva Goswami states that Uddhava sang these verses daily while he was in Vrindavan. So, what is the point that's being made here in the purport? Oh, we have one more verse. Let me go back. Yeah. So the point that's being made, and this is made many, many times, and probably you've heard it before, is that the point being made here that Uddhava was a minister. He was pretty up there, well-educated and materially qualified. And the gopis, they're cowherd girls. If you've been in India and you go to a village and you see the cowherd people, they're quite simple. They don't have a lot of money. They're not well educated. They just need to learn how to take care of their cows and so forth. And generally, from a material perspective, a very educated person wouldn't go to a village in India to learn from them. They would go to a university to learn from a professor. So that's the point that's being made, that Uddhava is enamored by the bhakti of the gopis. And so Prabhupada makes the point that bhakti is not, it's not about academics. If you know, it's not if you know more, you're going to be a better devotee. Maybe, but it could be. But knowledge itself doesn't produce bhakti. Hearing is purifying. We should hear, we should study. Study builds faith. But it's not that those who have a high IQ and those who are scholarly necessarily have an advantage. It's because material qualification are material qualifications, and the real qualification is one's humility, one's devotion, and ultimately one's love. So the gopis had love, so that was their qualification. Okay, we have one more verse, and then we'll take questions. Etam param tanabrito bhuvi gopi vadbho govinda eva nikalatmani rudha bhavaha panchanti yadbhavabiyo munaya bhayam cha kim brahma jamma bhya ananta katarasaya. Excuse me, rasasya. Translation. Oh, we get to hear the song. I thought it was the last verse. Okay. It's your lucky day, everyone. You're going to hear the song. Now you can go to bed tonight singing the song instead of thinking about what it is. Uddhava sang, among all persons on earth, these cowherd women alone have actually perfected their embodied lives. For they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Lord Govinda. Their pure love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well. For one who has tasted the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmin or even as Lord Brahma himself? Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that here the term Brahma Janmavihi, Brahminical births, refers to the threefold birth by seminal parenthood, sacred thread initiation, and sacrificial initiation. These cannot compare to pure Krishna consciousness. So what Uddhava is saying is, if you have love of Krishna, whoever you are, you've reached the goal. So, you could be a great sage, you could be a great scholar, you could be a great whatever. But the gopis are greater than you because they have pure love. And Mahaprabhu stated that there is no love that you will find anywhere in this world or the spiritual world which is greater than the love of the gopis. And as most of us know, Krishna was so enamored by that love, he couldn't even understand the depth of that love. He felt the love of the gopis and the love of Radha was more intense than any kind of love he could give them. And he said, I can't even reciprocate with your love because your love is greater. And that love is so beautiful and attractive, he wanted to experience it. And that's why he came as Lord Chaitanya. At least one of the reasons he came as Lord Chaitanya is to experience that love. Even he, Krishna, is attracted by the love of his own devotees, so much so that he was enamored by that love to the point that he needed to incarnate in the mood of Radharani to experience what she's experiencing. It was so attractive. So gopis are always glorified for their love. And again, I just want to make the point, and Prabhupada makes this point many times, that this has nothing to do with mundane sexual love. Absolutely 100% nothing to do with it. And we, in our purity, as we become purified, then we will be able to understand that love. You can't understand that love if you're not pure. But as you become purified of your own lust, then you become qualified to understand what is pure love. And to the degree that we do not are able to purify or transcend our own material lust, we will be out licking the bottle of the jar of honey and trying to understand Radha and Krishna. So you might think, well, it's difficult to control my senses. It's difficult to be renounced. It's difficult this and that. But this is the price. This is what you pay to understand Radha and Krishna. When you understand Radha and Krishna, nothing greater than that, right? There's no nectar higher than that. But that's the price you have to pay. Otherwise, you can't understand it. So if anyone says, well, why must you practice sense control and sensual restraint? If you want to understand the pure love of Radha and Krishna, you have to. Because it's not that you can understand it with your mind intellectually. You have to understand it with your heart. And if the heart's not purified, how will you understand something which is pure? Okay. So now it's time for questions, comments, objections, arguments, controversies. Yeah. Whatever. I'm ready for anything.
Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Wonderful class. Ishwari Sundari, Spirit Soul. Go ahead. Yeah, you need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Hare Krishna, thank you. It wasn't allowing me to unmute myself until now, so sorry about that. I have a reflection and I have a question, and I hope
Okay.
that the question isn't controversial. So I'll do the reflection
I hope
first.
it is. I hope it is. It'll keep people
Okay.
here longer.
Okay, cool. So I just wanted to first talk about separation,
Yes.
and over the past several years, I've lost people either to them leaving their bodies or letting go of friendships that weren't serving my spiritual path, although I keep them in my heart. And, children moving away. And I've been experiencing a lot of alone time, this physical void of human beings being close to me and fulfilling my daily life. Do this, do that, go here, go there. And I've questioned that so many times because it's not easy. Even though I do have association of the devotees, it's not all the time. So I do spend a lot of time talking to myself. And I think about that because like we're talking about the separation from Krishna, and where is the lesson there? And what it has taught me is that just as the body is temporary and it's a physical body, so is the association that we have with our loved ones and our friends. Yes. So what is that disconnect, that separation teaching you beyond the fact that you actually, when my son first went to college, I cried for a whole week. I would be in meetings and people would laugh because they're like, there she goes. Like, I was like, oh, my baby left. And a year ago and a half, both of them moved to North Carolina. And I was in my house crying the same way. And my kids are old. My kids are in their 30s. They're not babies. And it just taught me that just like we think that we're in separation from Krishna, we're not. Because our loved ones, especially Krishna, is always in our hearts.
Yes.
And that consoles me, especially at nighttime when it's dark and I'm left with just my thoughts and my pillow and my blanket, and you feel that loneliness setting in. I always say, no, I'm not alone. I know you're here. And I know my kids are here with me. And that is life. That is what we work to in a spiritual world. It's to go beyond the body. So that's my reflection on separation and where love really resides. It's not so much the physical, although we're living in this physical body and we feel like we need, 24/7 association. And then my question, I hope it's not controversial, but maybe it is. what was the lesson that Krishna was trying to teach the husbands or boyfriends of the gopis by kissing the gopis?
Well, now it's easy to answer. The husbands of the gopis are devotees, right? So let's say you were married and you came back home and said to your husband, I don't know what happened, but I had this vision that Krishna came and kissed me. Don't you think your husband would be happy? Of course. Of course.
If he's a devotee.
Yeah, of course. Well, in Rajalila, not only devotee, eternal associate. Now, I'll explain something to you, and this will help answer the question. You may remember that when Krishna played his flute to call the gopis for Ras Leela, there were certain gopis who couldn't come, and it said they couldn't come because their husbands stopped them. You know that Leela, right? Okay. So let's go a little deeper. Their husbands are devotees. Why would a devotee stop his wife from seeing Krishna? It doesn't make any sense. So you have to go deeper because Krishna's leelas, they're very deep and they're very wide. Well, as we learn from the story, those gopis were just coming into Krishna leela from their past life on earth. And when you come into Krishna leela from your past life on earth, then you're coming there to get completely purified and develop prema. And they hadn't yet developed prema, so they weren't yet qualified to go in Ras Leela. And so by Yogamaya's arrangement, using their husbands, who were all eternal associates of Krishna, their husbands blocked them. So it looks like, oh, these husbands are bad. These husbands are bad. Look what they did. They blocked their wives. But actually, they're under the influence of Yogamaya for the Leela. They were not qualified to go, and therefore they blocked them. So the husbands are always, perfect in what they're doing. And it has nothing to do with how we would see things in this world. And you always have to approach the leelas of understanding that everything is arranged to give Krishna pleasure. And everything is arranged to bring the devotees and Krishna closer together. So however it looks like, you always use that as your compass. Oh, this has to be to bring the devotees closer together. It has to be Krishna's desire. Now, in our Leela in this world, no, but in Vraja Leela, yeah. I mean, it could be anything in this world, but in that world, it's only Leela. It's only Krishna's desire. So when there's any frustration or anything goes wrong, it's always arranged by Krishna. Every day, Yogamaya and Vrinda Devi, they come together and they plan out the day, what's going to happen. So all these things are actually planned, and Yogamaya is arranging everything, but it's all to enhance the love of Krishna. So that's an interesting fact, just to meditate, that everything Krishna does is to enhance the love he has for his devotees and the devotees' love for him, because he thrives on love. Love is his chocolate ice cream, so to speak. It's what he loves, what he thrives on, what he loves the most, or his kitri, or whatever your favorite. Is that okay?
Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Temple room, Adipusha Prabhu. Unmute.
Govindamari Prusham.
That's his full name.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We rejoice and delight in your presentation, just like Uddhava came to benefit the residents of Vrindavan. Krishna sent you to benefit us, so we're very, very grateful. Your whole deportment and presentation is so nourishing and satisfying. This Mataji, who just asked this question about how Krishna arranged for her to be alone, I heard Srila Prabhupada say, you're not alone, you're alone with Krishna. Krishna's arranging for you to be alone with him because he doesn't want you distracted by these other relationships, that he's calling you closer. Yeah. And I was very much impressed by when you said, so questions, comments, angles of vision, wisecracks, different things that people might say. I'm lately meditating on, we're becoming more and more interactive with our Bhagavatam classes. And I've been going to Bhagavatam class for the last 50 years. And what I notice is that Krishna arranges that things come up, somebody asking a question, or even sometimes a speaker, or somebody making a comment, and what they have to say is not precisely the best or complete understanding of a subject matter. And then it's Krishna's perfect arrangement for somebody else to say, well, Prabhu, in addition to what you said, Prabhupada said this. So, we relish like you say, we relish the controversies that come up because it provokes us to go deeper and to interact with each other. And you said that the devotees, how wonderful you made that point, that the devotees are helping each other to be Krishna conscious. And actually, it's pleasing to Krishna that we're helping each other. Not only are we benefiting each other, but by benefiting each other, we're pleasing Krishna. I was visiting my years ago, my college roommate, and he had a beautiful, gorgeous house, very wealthy medical administrator. His wife's a doctor, and they had a butler and a maids and gorgeous mansion, and we were sitting in the breakfast room overlooking the garden, and I said to them, wow, we're living in East Village, that's where our service is, but this is like heavenly. You guys have everything here, it's so beautiful. And the wife said, Adi, there's only one thing I want. And I think Krishna has the same sentiment. She said, there's only one thing I want in this world. I just want my kids to love each other. Wow, how nice. And right at that moment, the little girl, kid, 6 years old, little girl came in and said, I hate my brother! I hate my brother! Poor lady almost fell out of her chair. And it was so amazing timing, She just walked in raw, straight out, blatantly screamed out, I hate my brother. And I was praying to Krishna what to say. And Krishna gave me a little something. I said, Lucia, you don't hate your brother. I hate my brother. I said, no, listen carefully. Jesus said, hate the sin, love the sinner. We know you love Alex. We know you love your brother, but you hate what he just did. You love your brother. Now, he's just a kid. He's going to grow up, and he's not going to do these crazy things as he becomes mature. Just like this table has some crumbs on it. We don't throw the table out. We just brush off the crumbs, So, my brother is like, not mature, and he did something. So you hate. And just like a very, very intelligent little 6-year-old girl, she said, I love my brother, but I hate what he just did. I love my brother, but I hate what he just... I love my brother, but I hate what he just did. And she kind of got it, But the point is, relating to what we're talking about today, the mother said, I only want one thing in this world. I just want my kids to love each other. So Krishna's pleased that the devotees help each other to be Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I think we could give that to Prabhupada. I want nothing. I just want my devotees to love one another.
Yeah, he said that. And it's so painful for the parent, or painful to Krishna, or painful to the guru, to see the devotees fighting,
Yeah, of course.
ridiculous things that we get into. But we can help each other, even if somebody says something, a misstatement. There was something yesterday that came up as a controversy, and somebody else said, well, we shouldn't have that person in the class, But actually, it's a good opportunity to bring up a refinement and purify and make a more precise presentation of any subject matter. Anyway, I'm talking too much. But thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Here come the deity.
It's Darshan time. Turn on your cameras, please, if you can. And Mahatma Prabhu, we have 10 minutes. We can stay after Darshan.
Sure.
And, take additional questions. We have
Sure.
Kamal Lochan, Lotus Side, Kamal Lochan, and Bhima Prabhu.
Okay.
We have enough controversy for today, so keep it. Don't get me in trouble, please. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Mahatma Prabhu, wonderful class. Thank you. Very good content. Thank you.
We've seen that in class, something comes up. the next day.
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam classes, real things come up. And that's why we need devotees like Mahatma Prabhu who are mature and knowledgeable, and they can guide us through apparent controversies.
We're a work in progress.
Yeah. We live to be corrected, Vaisheshika Prabhu
There's
says.
a really wonderful statement in the Bible that says, don't doubt that he will not complete the good work he's begun in you. Don't doubt that he will complete the good work he's begun in you. So we're grateful for to be on the path and for the corrections, controversies that come up so we can become closer to Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada. Deities are not here yet.
Just to increase our love.
Yeah.
Separation. We're all thinking of the deities now, right? Meditating on them,
Yeah.
right?
Where are you?
Mahatma Prabhu, so behind you there's Krishna hugging somebody. Who is he hugging? What's happening in that picture?
Gop Kumar.
Okay.
This is Brihad Bhagavatamrita. This is when Gop Kumar first went back to Godhead. And this is when he first met Krishna and Krishna first met him. And Krishna said, I've been waiting for you.
Adipusha Prabhu, unmute yourself, please. Jai Shri Shirana Muridhar Shigur Chandra. Shri Champakalata Saki. Okay. Adipusha Prabhu, thank you for facilitating the darshan of the Lord. Okay, welcome to the Afterglow. Devotees, if we can take two reflections. Kamal Lochan followed by Bhima Prabhu. Let's do it. Unmute yourself, Prabhus. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My humble obeisances unto your feet, Maharaj. Danvat Pranam.
Hare
Gurudev,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Gurudev, you, as you in the beginning, you said it's an esoteric subject matter, this relationship with Radha and Krishna, and with the Gopis and Krishna. So my question was that the biggest impurity in us, in conditioned soul, is this bodily conception of life. That is the biggest impurity. So it's not possible to attain pure love of Krishna without attaining realization of our spiritual identity, that is self-realization. So it's not possible to attain love of Krishna without that. So my question is that should we not focus on more on self-realization than on attaining pure love of Krishna, like we are contaminated right now? So that was my question, Maharaj.
They're both the same thing, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't love Krishna if you're not self-realized. So Krishna begins in the Gita, you're not the body, so you have to understand that. And then you're given principles to act off the bodily platform. So they're not really two different processes, because everything we're doing is meant to purify our heart. And as your heart becomes purified, then you come closer to Krishna. But to think, today I'm going to shoot for prema and I'm just going to read the leelas of the Gopis. Yeah, of course not. We wouldn't do that. Or I'm going to read esoteric books on, the highest aspects of Krishna consciousness. No, we wouldn't do that. We're like, do you listen to Prabhupada's lectures, over and over again? You're not the body. You're a spirit soul. You're part and parcel of Krishna. You're a servant. And he was saying it over and over again because he could see that we had to hear it a million times to maybe understand 1% of that. So in that sense, yeah, we're in that sense, we're not specifically focused on prema. We're focused on purification, but purification brings prema. So in the broad sense, we are focused on prema. But in specific sense, we're focused on becoming purified, serving our Guru, serving Prabhupada, becoming closer to them, and that way closer to Krishna. And there's a prayer in the Bhagavatam, and I forget who said it. Maybe it was Prahlad Maharaj. He said, I don't know Krishna, but I know my Guru. So sometimes the devotee feels that way. I don't know what love of Krishna is, but I have a little love for my Guru. So I start there. And that will then lead me to loving Krishna. And loving Krishna is a big thing. It's a very, most of us are on the stage of bhajana kriya or anartha nivritti, maybe nishta. And prema is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages more. So, it's a big thing. But it is the goal. At least the immediate goal, you can think of Krishna. Try to think of him with love. Your love is your sincerity. That's our love right now. Thank you for that question. It's a good question.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bhima Prabhu? Let me see if I can ask. Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
I got it. I'm on. Yes? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very quickly, Mahatma Prabhu Maharaj, I know that I'm sort of on the outskirts, but I do catch online that you are very adamant and very centered upon japa.
Yes.
And yesterday, who gave Ananda Bihari, who gave class yesterday? Go. What was? I'm sorry, I forget the name. Who gave?
Madan Gopal.
Madan Gopal. Yes. Okay, and he said something that was very sweet, and that is, hold on, my horse is eating the fence. Drop that. Krishna yells that at me when I pick up Maya. He mentioned that the beads themselves, the 108, represent the 108 gopis, and that when we engage in japa, it is not unlike us being asked to engage in the rasa dance, in the sense that here we have a chance, Krishna being the head bead, and the 108 beads surrounding are the gopis, and that when we pick up our beads to chant, it is not too unlike being invited to be fully concentrated and absorbed. Could you expand on that, or elucidate more of that, so that the one thing that we have, which expounds upon Prabhu Kamala Lochan, I believe, I can't read, I don't have my glasses on. He mentioned that, the not be, the clarification stage, the purification stage, at the same time developing, or should we concentrate on love of Krishna? And that it seems that with Madan Gopal's description and your teaching points to japa, that those combine together, that we can have simultaneously both that purification, the realization, the wiping clean of the mirror by chanting, and at the same time, because we are engaged in this intimate relationship with Krishna and the gopis on while we're chanting. Could you explain a little bit more on that?
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Understanding what something is necessary. So the holy name is Krishna, the holy name is Radha. We are associating with Radha and Krishna when the kirtans were going on at Srivas Sangha. It is said that was Ras Leela that was Mayapur Ras Leela, that was Ras Leela of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So when you're chanting, you are given this tattva, this understanding that this is what is actually happening. I'm associating with Radha and Krishna personally, or as you say here, if you want to think, this is I'm in the association of the gopis. It's all there, but what can we understand? What can we realize? It's there in a potential form. So if I say Krishna's in his holy name, Radha's in his holy name, that's different than saying I can see them. But I can try to, I often, when I can just tell you my personal experience, often when I chant, I meditate on this, that Krishna's here, Radha is here. I'm not seeing Krishna with my eyes, I'm not seeing Radha with my eyes, but if I meditate on that they are they are here presently, then I have some access to feel their presence, at least awareness that they are here. And this is what the holy name means. So it's kind of like a journey. I understand this is what's going on. It's like if you go to Vrindavan or you go to Govardhan, you go on parikrama, and they tell you the leelas there and say, this is what happened. And then they'll say, actually, if you have the eyes to see, this leela is going on right now. And most of the devotees, when they hear that, makes them feel worse because they don't see it. And often they don't even feel it, So it's like, why did you have to say that? That made me feel horrible. And so, okay, so it's something like that. Like, okay, this is where Krishna did this. I was saying it last night in class that Prabhupada would sometimes rise at midnight or at the wee hours of the evening and sweep the floor of the Radha Damodar temple. I think at that time it was at the Samadhis, Bhajan Kutir, Rupa Goswami. I think it was, he would sweep that and he would pray to Rupa Goswami for mercy. And there was a person living there who would hear Prabhupada praying. And the person said, if you go to Radha Damodar, these pastimes are eternal, and you can see that Prabhupada is still there sweeping and praying. So I asked all the devotees, there were like 50 devotees or 60 devotees in the temple. I said, all of you have been to Radha Damodar. Have you seen Prabhupada sweeping? Nobody raised their hand. So it's something like that, like it's there. We know it's there. We can go and pray to Prabhupada, that I can hear you praying to Rupa Goswami and chant. So it's like, okay, this is the reality. Now let me pray to become purified to realize it. So that's kind of how I take it personally. I meditate, Krishna's here, I just don't see you. But at least maybe I can feel you. Maybe I can feel Prabhupada's presence in Radha Damodar. I can feel Krishna's presence in the holy name. I should try to feel his presence. But as with anything in bhakti, you can't blast your way into the spiritual world. You can't like build a rocket ship and just like, I'll fly in, Krishna, Jai and Vijay aren't going to see me. I'll come in, I won't come through the gate. I'll, have a rocket ship, I'll talk to Elon Musk. Can we, build a spaceship to go to Vaikuntha, He's pretty smart. He could probably figure it out, right? No, you can't. You can't break the walls down of Vaikuntha and get in. So it's kind of like, okay, I understand this. Krishna helped me realize this, and I'm chanting, and I'm meditating. Yeah, these are the gopis. But what is a gopi? You just understand that. What is the love of a gopi? That's like huge, right? So I think that's the proper mood. At least that's the mood I take.
Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Very hope-given point that you just made. We understand it's okay to understand and not see. Thank you. Do you have the time for one more? We have Nirali more.
Yeah.
Nirali, go ahead.
Haribo, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Chai.
This is not a question. This is a little bit of a plug. Bhima Prabhu mentioned that Mahatma Prabhu is very focused on japa, and there is an upcoming japa retreat at Tawako Temple in New Jersey. For all those, I put the details in the chat. For anyone who wants to attend, please do. It will be wonderful to see you there. So just wanted to share that.
That is Saturday, this Saturday and Sunday, so it's good timing.
Yes.
All you have to do if you're in New York is just drive up the street and you'll be there, right?
Thank you.
Exactly. Yep. Haribo.
I've never, no matter how many japa workshops, retreats you've been to, I've never found that going to another one is anything but beneficial. So I would encourage you, if you have the time. It's like all day Saturday and part of Sunday up till like 4 o'clock. It's really like a booster shot to your japa. I'd love to see you there.
Yeah. Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Thanks everyone for participating so actively. We're wishing you a wonderful day. Come again tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam has unlimited depth, just like japa, just like Prashanam, just like Devotees Association. Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu, for your wonderful, jolly, hope-given presentation.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Look forward to your class next time. Hare Krishna.